Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Tell Great Stories. That's the podcast that looks back at some of Unbound Theatre's past projects and productions. Well, today we're going to be talking about Antigone. Now, that was one of Unbound's co-produced shows. Antigone was produced in partnership with another theatre company, Benedek Productions, in September 2018. Seems like such a long time ago.
Well, 2018? Oh
2018, I tell you not. So as you've guessed, it's not just me doing the talking tonight. Luckily, I have several other people with me, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Right, so hi there, I'm Beatrice Benedek, and I directed the show Antigone, which premiered in 2018, a long time ago.
Hi, I am Katie Herbert, and I played Antigone in 2018.
My name's Courtney, and I played King Creon.
In 2018?
Yeah, weirdly.
And I'm Gareth, and I played one of the chorus in Antigone in 2018.
And can I just kind of slip in there? I'm proud to say that I was also in the chorus, along with Gareth and several others. But chorus aside, let's talk to Katie, who happens to be the main title character. So for anyone who hasn't seen the show before, Katie, can you give us a kind of a brief summary of the plot?
Okay, so Antigone is a continuation of the Oedipus story, really. So for people who aren't familiar with that, Oedipus accidentally married his own mother.
Oh dear.
Yes, had some children. Everything was fine. Then they found out all hell broke loose. It was all horrible.
Oh,
so he's dead. She's dead. He had 4 children. They are now adopted by their uncle Creon, who is also now King Creon. So he's taken over the kingdom from Oedipus. The kingdom is also at war, and Oedipus's 2 sons go and fight in the war. They both are killed. One of them is going to get a big hero's burial, bells and whistles, all, confetti, all this stuff. And the other one is viewed as a traitor because he ran away from a fight. Creon hears this and decides very publicly to say that this son then should not be buried, which is quite a big thing for the Greeks. Arguably a big thing for people now. I don't think people like just not burying people and just leaving them around. But it was very big for the Greeks, very, very big. So when Oedipus's 2 daughters, who are still at home with Creon, hear about this, one of them is beautiful, loyal, charming, intelligent, lovely to be around.
Which character did you play then, Katie?
I'm the other one, Jacki. Yeah. So the other one is Antigone. And she decides that even though her uncle has very publicly stated that her brother should not be buried and he is the king, she is going to bury him anyway. So the play is about their 2 decisions, really, and the ramifications of those and how it affects everybody else.
Okay, thanks for that, Katie. So, Chris, you played King Creon. How do you see the play from your perspective, or actually from the perspective of King Creon, and how was it to play King Creon?
From Creon's point of view, right, the whole play starts, it's very patriarchal, and it starts with Creon, who's the king. He's in charge of everything, and he's used to having his own way, and it's kind of like everything unravels for him throughout the play. So his beginning speech is a very rousing one where Argos has been defeated. There's a big battle and Argos has been defeated, and he talks this very talks up a lot of imagery, particularly about the battle and stuff, and how successful he was as a leader and how strong he is, and he continues to be like that. And he's very much a man of honour, which is derived from the patriarchy, I think, particularly as well, which means he struggles with Antigone's antics in terms of her
Antigone's antics.
Antigone's antics.
Yes, the musical version of Antigone.
More like the Carry On version, that one.
Well, this is true. Going against the grain of what he considers to be the true path of how people should conduct themselves, and as I say, I keep mentioning the patriarchy, but I think it's very much like that. But in terms of Creon, the whole story as it moves on, everything unravels for him. And for some reason, I've got the rise and fall of Reggie Perrin on my mind. I don't know why that is. But it kind of unravels and unravels. His first speech at the beginning of the play is he is extremely powerful and he's shouting and he's angry. He's angry with power and success, and he's buoyed up with it all. And it travels from that to all the way through in different stages as things unravel.
So an excellent part for an actor to play, then, I would say. Yeah.
Absolutely, because you're going through a whole gamut of different things, and you have to, as an actor, you have to show the gradual unraveling of his character, and as he gets beaten down from this first scene of the king of the universe, as far as he's concerned, to the last scene that he's in, where he's holding a rag of his dead son, and it's like, look what I've got. Basically, I've got this left, and that's it. I've got nothing now. And as you say, it is great for an actor because as an actor, you have to show that gradual change throughout the play. So yeah.
Thanks. That paints quite a good picture. So B, what was it about Antigone that appealed to you most as a director? And also, you went for Brecht's version. What made you go for Brecht's version? Do you think, did it stand out above any other, or?
Well, that year I was reading quite a lot of plays, and I was always fascinated by Brecht's work. But I was looking for something different in terms of, just going away a bit from the standard, Caucasian chalk circle or Mother Courage and Her Children, all the big plays that are usually staged on, West End's stages and theatres. And I just came across Antigone, and as I was reading it, the thing is, I was just like, the entire story was unfolding in front of my eyes. I could see every part of it, and how I could see how I wanted to stage it, how I wanted to minimize all the props and everything, just like take it back, strip it back to the essential things of the play, which both Katie and Chris have beautifully mentioned just before. I think what really interested me was this the fact that all the characters, like the main characters in this play, had their own truth, each one of those causes or what they believed in were legit, so I was just intrigued. Okay, so if if all of them have their own truth and they're all legit, who are we going to actually side on? Which side are we going to go? Are we going to go with Creon's story and his beliefs, or are we going with Antigone's beliefs or Ismene's? So that's what sort of attracted me to the to this play, to the essence of this play. And I guess it's just, as I was saying before, the thing that it's just unfolding in front of your eyes. And I think it's sort of a sixth sense that just, I guess some directors develop, So, yeah. So that's what sort of got my attention. And, being a fan of Brecht's work, it just fitted best for that year.
Yeah, being a fan, so that came naturally. And also you played
I did.
Ismene so you directed and starred and produced.
Yeah, she was the
Girl of
lovely,
many
charming,
talents.
beautiful one, just so everyone knows. Just so everyone knows.
I
The
was.
nice one.
I actually was.
right.
And I'm not saying that with modesty, because I am modest.
We have a wonderful makeup department. Oh,
I
sorry,
know,
babe.
right? I know, right? I had a beautiful dress and fantastic hair. I know. I was charming.
Oh, well, stars in the chorus were wearing, what was it, tablecloths and sheets? But it looked really dramatic. It made
Exactly.
the effect. Yeah. So, going to the rehearsal process, it's like the Greek tragedy, and the chorus is, I've mentioned the chorus before, is powerful and it's a dramatic device. So what did you have to consider, and was there any special process that you used in order to get the continuity of the chorus? And, you know, because we all had to speak in unison, etc. So over to you, B. So directing the actors in the chorus, what did you consider?
So with the chorus, what attracted me to that part and why I've decided to have several people playing the chorus, because I could have just easily gone to the easy route down, you know, just have one or two people doing it, you know, but instead I've just chosen to go with 10. So I just wanted to have a character which was represented by several people or more people, because I was looking at it as the voice of everyone. You know, it's the chorus or an ensemble in any theatre play is such an easy instrument to use. You know, to help the public, the audience members, to, you know, at certain times to recognize themselves as part of the many, you know, as part of the play, to get them closer to the characters. It's not as, you know, as separate from, you know, the people who are on stage and the people who are watching it. So it's definitely went for, you know, the breaking the fourth wall. And what I really particularly loved about this was that I instructed my cast to also go into the public, you know, and there were several scenes where the chorus were delivering their lines in the public, you know, looking at the public. So it made it more real for the public.
Trying to make them feel as though they were joining in the voice of the chorus. They were the voice of the people.
Precisely. And I think like there were like definitely so actually what I wanted to do is just to show that it's sort of a mirror towards to the public itself. I mean, showing that there might not be any different from the people on stage. You know, that they might be at some points they might be just part of on the side of the villain, or on the side of the good guys, or on the side of the anti-hero. So it's so easy to manipulate the masses. You know, that's sort of what I wanted to show, and it came across really well in some moments in Antigone, because there were parts where the chorus definitely sided with Creon or with Antigone, or they were neutral, you know, and it's just so easy. It's so easy to manipulate people and the public's perception of good and evil through this instrument. And why I've used, I mean, we had actors in the cast who are at the moment, you know, emerging professional actors, or are trying to embrace this career, and there were actors who are doing it because of the passion and a hobby for the theatre art form. So definitely there was a balance that had to be struck in order to get everyone on the same page. But I was so fascinated to see what we together have achieved to do. You know, it was literally a tour de force on everyone's side. So and we managed to deliver, in my opinion, what the vision of the play was all about.
Oh yeah, I think there's plenty that would agree with you. So Gareth, you were part of the chorus as well. What did you think, as you know, talking to what B has just said about the chorus, how manipulating the people, how did you feel about it?
Well, I actually sort of really was fascinated the moment B introduced the idea that we were doing Antigone, and she was actually going with the sort of proper Greek chorus of the, you know, large numbers of people all speaking in unison, all with heavily choreographed movement. And yeah, my initial thought was, wow, that's daring. But then the second thought is, if anyone's going to manage that, it's going to be B, because she is just fantastic at that kind of thing. So I was so ecstatic that we were doing it, because I really love the idea of it, and that it was B directing it. So you kind of knew, even though it was really difficult, it was going to come across really well. That was, you know, really good to hear, but also very intimidating, because the level of precision that you need to do that kind of chorus was just, you know, orders of magnitude different from what you normally have to do. You have to be word perfect, because if one of you goes wrong, it throws you all off. And I remember, Jacki, because obviously you were in the chorus as well.
Yeah.
And I remember when we were rehearsing it, we had that sort of line run over at your house. And we were sort of getting everyone round and getting us round the table. And I think just for sort of the first couple of lines or something, we just drilled it and drilled it and drilled it. But just fantastic to do. And I'm sure...
I'd actually forgotten about that, Gareth. Yeah, you're right. And we just really went for it, didn't we? Over and over and over again, so that we were all talking in unison. And it really helped. It was a lot of hard work, but I have to say, what an experience. I've never experienced anything like that before. And it's like something like you say, Bee's got such good vision. I've since found out with other productions that she's done as well. It wasn't just Antigone. That the simplicity of Antigone made it dramatic and striking. And like you say, the fear of being in the audience, in amongst the audience, and all speaking in unison and having to get it all absolutely, on point was a real challenge. So, but a good one.
Yeah, but I just if I can just jump in quickly, it was definitely. I mean, I just wanted to reassure all the listeners that it wasn't only the cast members who were in front of a challenge. I felt at times also quite overwhelmed with that, because you have to be really precise and you really have to deliver on it. But the moment you deliver on it, it really gives you goosebumps. I mean, I have goosebumps right now just remembering how powerful and how strong those those scenes where the entire chorus were either like whispering or just not shouting but projecting loudly.
And that's something else that was really interesting. The way we used our voices so differently. I mean, there were chunks that we were whispering, and then we had singing, and then talking in unison, but making sure that you got the intonation right and the feeling into it. So
yeah, and I think what you were saying about how the mood of the chorus really does reflect what the public at large is thinking, and it's very, very changeable. And so it sort of, you needed to know the story and really know the play and know what was going on in every scene to be able to deliver those reactions and to give your lines the sort of meaning that they deserved. Because it's very unusual that as a sort of chorus member you're on stage pretty much all the time, always having to react to something. And again, so lucky that the leads are played by people as talented as Katie and Chris, because you do just get sucked into their performances that it then amplifies your own performance so much. So it was great to be able to just play off someone who is really delivering it with such emotion that you can just tap into that and your reactions become a lot more natural than being forced. So that was a really interesting aspect of it as well.
Yeah, it's a good point, Gareth. Yeah. And does anybody else have anything to add to that? Katie, Chris?
Well, I was just going to say that it helps with those kind of scenes. You have that, they were almost like a sense of foreboding, I suppose. You have that sense of being watched and you have that sense of reaction. You could feel the emotion from the chorus when you were doing those scenes. So you kind of fed off that as well. So if you guys were thinking, oh no, I'm not interested or something like that, you could feel it when you were doing the acting. I don't know how you did it, being on stage almost the entire play and speaking in unison throughout. And I was thinking, oh my God, this is incredible. I just don't know how you managed it.
Sorry, guys.
But it was an amazing, but the effect was fantastic. The effect was very much, the being watched side of it and this exposing side of it, I suppose, was definitely there because you were all looking.
Yeah.
But as Gareth said, it's being part of a team because Chris and Beatrice, you're all doing your thing as the main roles. And so we were able to feed off that and deliver, and then we delivered back to your emotion, and so it was just a whole team project. We were all just very emotional.
Very happy, emotionally feeding off each other.
Yes. And this leads me very nicely into having those memories captured, because if you get a good photographer who captures somebody at the right time when they're pulling that face, Chris, or when they're looking into the distance at Katie, looking beautiful. It's...
Thanks, Jackie. I'll pay you later.
You're welcome. It was all down to Angela. She puts a filter on it. Well, she did on mine anyway.
I'm not paying you now.
But yeah, so we have a photographer, Angela North, who has captured throughout many of the productions, actually, some fantastic pictures that... obviously you've got the memory there forever. So
yeah, couldn't agree more. She's absolutely bloody brilliant.
I think we're really lucky as well. I think we're really lucky to have somebody who can come and take photos. Other productions, they'd get a photographer who would maybe come in to do some photos, but Angela will travel around with us and she'll come to rehearsals. And she's fantastic. You just kind of, she comes out with these brilliant shots and you think, I don't even remember doing that. I don't remember being there. When did that happen?
And maybe, Katie,
that's
why it is, because she's actually spent so much of her time with the production and with the people that she's able to capture those moments.
Because at times it can appear like she's almost psychic, because you think, how did you know that was the point at which to get ready to perfectly frame this shot of this emotional moment? Because you look at the photos she takes and none of them seem sort of random. They always seem like they've captured a brilliant emotion, a brilliant moment, a brilliant bit of action somewhere. And yet they're not, that's happening quick, I've got to go over to it and click. It's like she just knew it was coming up, had it in exactly the right place and framed it really nicely. But as you say, it's because she really is, she comes to rehearsal, she gets to know the production, so she knows which moments are coming up and can kind of be ready to know that's going to be a really good bit. And you see that come through in the quality of the photos that she's then able to give us. So it's just fantastic that we've got her able to do that and willing to put that level of effort into what could just be, it's just a photo. It's not that. It's so much more than that, what she brings.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I think also the thing that is really, what Unbound is very lucky with to have Angela on board as a company's photographer is the fact that she already knows quite a lot of us who have been involved with Unbound projects from the start of Unbound, from the start of the Unbound history, and that's also something that one needs to not forget, because the moment that you already start knowing the person behind. Not behind, in front of the camera, you already know sort of how, you develop a sense to how to take the photos of those people, and obviously everything that you've said is also very important, especially coming to rehearsals, coming to the dress rehearsals and seeing a bit how things are working, who's where, when and how they're delivering stuff, But also I think as a photographer, you also have to capture the essence of the person regardless of what character they are in, and I think Angela has definitely developed over the years that sort of sense, and I think that it's absolutely incredible that she what she's doing, what she managed to do. For all of my productions with Unbound, she's been there, and I'm also every time I'm looking at those photos, I'm like, my goodness, this is fantastic. You can those snapshots, the snapshots.
One comes to mind be of the dance where you were in doing the ballet. I think it was you, or was it?
It was Yana. It was Yana.
Yeah. And in silhouette as well. That was just beautiful, mesmerising.
Yeah, exactly.
Looking at the time, it's probably time to wrap things up. So maybe just to talk about a few other projects that people have been involved with. Gareth, anything spring to mind? I think you've been involved in one or two Unbound projects over the years.
Yeah, a few old Unbound projects. The standout of recent times has to have been the 24-hour show, which was just an amazing.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Sort of epic thing. Done at a very difficult time, but done to success. One standout performance again, sort of coming from B's side of things that I wasn't really involved in was the production of Percy and Camille.
Oh yes.
Which I thought was so interestingly staged, and it was a piece written by Joe Pratt, and a really interesting piece as well. I loved coming to watch that, and it was really, again, great to see B's sort of directing style come to that, where there was a lot of really interesting movement, and obviously B, you were playing a cat in it, and did a fantastic sort of version of playing that as a character that I would never have thought of to do, but when I saw it I was like, wow, that really fits what this has been written as, and then fits into the dynamic with Joe's character really well as well. So that was a really interesting performance for me.
That's an original play, and I think it's one that deserves to be promoted and played elsewhere as well. I mean, it was lucky that it was seen at Unbound first off. It had its premiere, but it's too good to be in a draw. And with what B did with the stage as well, I found that just as fascinating, because you've just got a black box, and she divided it into different rooms. The imagination even took you down into a cellar room, using projection as well to show people in the cellar room. There was an awful lot going on in that production. Yeah, good call, Gareth. It was an excellent production. I enjoyed that.
I think one of my favorite ones. I mean, I've been involved with quite a lot of projects, Unbound projects, from the start of it, and I absolutely loved being in them. But I think one that stands out for me is 12th Night, where I was playing Malvolio. I think when I auditioned, I went in. I said either Malvolio or the Fool, and I was sort of expecting to get the Fool, and then I turned out to get Malvolio. But it was absolutely fantastic. And I think that's where I met Katie and Chris the first time. It was just such a joy to do that play, and we were able to go out with it to perform it a few times. And it's so great to know that all the hard work that you put in, like I think 3 months beforehand, actually gets out and is shown more than 2 or 3 times. So yeah. I loved the concept behind it, and I loved just being able to share the stage again with quite a lot of actors who have been also in Antigone.
Yeah, a lot of talented actors there. Antony and Cleopatra was also one of my favourites. So because I just thought the setting of that and the beginning, where the dramatic effect of those curtains that was savagely ripped down before the whole of the dramatic event started, was visually it was just so effective.
I don't have like loads of standout moments there or reflections on like Unbound, because I've only been in a couple. 12th Night was brilliant, loved that. That was my first one, my little introduction to Unbound, and I actually loved that. I only came in as a substitute, so that was cool, and I really enjoyed it. And that was my first introduction to Unbound. But so some standout things for me, if you want to whack this in there, is from Antigone, would be and Gareth talked about it, and so did Katie, was the interaction between my character and the chorus, and how well the chorus did it, because we talked about how difficult it was for the chorus to all speak in unison, with the correct lines, the correct movement, and the correct intonation, and all that sort of stuff. And Gareth very kindly said that about mine and Katie's performance, and it was easy for the chorus to respond because of our performances being what they were. But equally, I could say it the other way around. I felt quite often that my how I portrayed Creon and his demise, his slow, staggered demise throughout the play, was dictated by how the chorus spoke to me, and how the chorus interacted with me. So I can put that definitely back around the other side as well. And I think some of the chemistry that I had on stage with people, when they say chemistry with people on stage, jump to a conclusion that it's romantic. That's not always the case. You can have chemistry with anyone and it can work. It's basically if it works naturally. And I really feel that there were a couple of people that I had some really good chemistry with. One was Katie, which was handy because she was Antigone, so it was useful. But another one was Lewis.
Oh yes.
Who played my son, and for me, I was only in a scene and a half or whatever with him, but there's one particular scene that I was in that would just blew my mind every time I did it. With him was brilliant, and then to cap it all, my favourite part, I genuinely think, was standing up and saying to Ismene, "We're not talking about her. She doesn't exist."
Oh God, Chris, you're giving me goosebumps. That was, I can only say that. Yeah, that was such a, that's like, as you said, this chemistry. Like it was just like it came so naturally, and. Oof, yeah, it's very few moments in an actor's life where you can actually feel the energy, where you just completely forget who you are as a normal person, and you're like, for very short second of your life, you're like that person. You're like going back thousands of years ago and playing that character. You feel that person, and it's just and it's just magical when it happens, because it takes two to do that or more, but yeah. Also, I mean, Chris, your play with Lewis was, I think, one of my favorite ones, to be honest, in Antigone, because it was so raw, it was so on it. I do remember that we in the rehearsals, I've asked you to shout at each other as loudly as you can, just to get out to get that rage out, and oh man, I'm so proud of you. I was so proud of you.
Yeah, it was a great production. Thank you to all of you for coming and sharing your thoughts and your stories about Antigone. And so that's Bea, Katie, Chris and Gareth. Thank you very much. And to all of you for listening in. I hope it means you're going to be looking out for an Antigone in the future, so you can make your own minds up about it. And for more episodes of Tell Great Stories and lots of other great audio and video content, you need to head over to unboundtheatre.co.uk, or you can look up at Unbound Theatre on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram or SoundCloud. So thank you and good night.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.